You and I, we reject these narrow attitudes. We add to each other like a coral reef. We transcend the nonsense, unite, and analyze the lyrics of Alien Shore by Rush.
Every Rush song.
Another go.
Another go. That's my favorite lyric. What does this song mean to you, Tim? Doing the pretentious.
Means that Neil and Alex had gotten together, in between tours, had not gone into the recording studio to start writing and stuff for counterparts, and they went and saw Independence Day.
Yeah.
And the aliens and the shore that they
Oh sure.
No, isn't it basically talking about people of different backgrounds but reaching a common ground together?
That's what I got out of it. To me, it seems to be inspired by the band's, by their fascination with human behavior, which Neil is always fascinated by that, and the concept of otherness, and exploring the universal experience of feeling like an outsider and the search for personal connection.
Mm-hmm. America. Yeah. I dig it. I'll read my notes that I wrote with my fingers. If we stop and think rationally about all of our supposed differences, we'll see that we really aren't that different. Still, we do have differences, biological and ideological differences. The media and politicians use those differences against us to keep us divided so they can stay on top. Those of us who don't buy into that crap know better. We get along, love each other despite our differences, and we respect each other because of our differences. There are some people who argue that this binary view of gender is dated, that Neil talks about in the song. I won't argue against that because I always support the sanctity of the individual. What I will argue for is that our binary view of politics is pretty dumb, and we need to stop falling for that. I'll also make another argument in support of Neil's lyrics of this song. The binary aspects in Alien Shore aren't about sexes, cultures, and political parties. The binary elements of this song are about you and I, and about him. I think he has maybe some certain friends that he's talking about, and he's saying, you and I don't fall for that crap. You and I get along. You and I aren't in a competition and focused on why we're different. I think Neil addressed individuals who had these biological and ideological differences from him. And he said, yeah, sure, we have our differences, but we have just as many similarities, and we can reach to each other, honor and appreciate our differences, and be better together because of our diversity.
I like that. I like what you're saying there. You and I, you and me, we don't have to, sex is not a competition. Race is not a definition. Let those other idiots believe what they believe, but we don't have to fall for that bull. I almost said bull. Beep.
Bullshit.
I didn't.
I got the E on, man. We can't go like Beer Thursday level cussing, but if it
that would be
slips
too
out,
far.
What the hell? Hell.
I like that. That was a great observation, Tim. What do you think?
I think Neil spent way too much time up in socialist Canada is what I think.
Here we go.
I mean, seriously, what
there it is.
Besides Russian hockey, what has Canada ever given us?
The helicopter. No, Spain.
Cold fronts.
I'm going to say no. They gave us some
Triumph.
Poutine.
Yeah, there's that. Triumph.
They also gave us Canadian bacon, which I say is just ham.
Right. It is. But see, there they are in their Canadian way, just trying to trick it up and say, oh, no, it's different.
It's really different. Isn't. Yeah.
They gave us the Canadian Mounties. That's always good, which we got a great classic cartoon out of that. So
it's true.
Hell.
So I was observing during the verses, the first verse is talking about men and women, how we're very much the same, but also very different, almost alien. We're strangers by one chromosome. Men are XY, women XX. The difference by one chromosome is the Y in men and I just said that. And the second verse is about being different in color and culture, language and race. In both cases, we work together for the common goal of a happy coexistence. Kind of to your point, we ain't got to be like those other fools.
Oh.
We can get along.
Remember when we were kids and we had friends that were different from our families or whatever, and we didn't know yet that we were supposed to dislike each other, and we just got along? And
I did not beat those mothers up.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right. There's Jay. Taking it violent. Yeah, in fact, that's pretty much exactly what I wrote for that first verse. Any other favorite? Well, actually, since it's the next verse that I really like, because I think this is not frequently, but I think this is an ongoing theme with Neil, because slave to the hormone, body and soul, I like. It reminds me of the line from Ceiling Unlimited, the programmed for the guts and glands of idle minds and idle hands. Just getting into that, just that primitive stuff that's just in our organs, like how much sugar did we have? What's going on with our energy level and all that? Free will, genetic blends with uncertain ends. So I made the note, notice there's no comma after the body, after body. We're not servants to three things: hormones, body, and soul. We're our bodies and souls. Our entire being is servants to our hormones. And that's something that I'll say now and then is our belief. Everyone feels or thinks that their beliefs are these things that they've researched, and it's all based on science and facts, and that anyone who's wrong just doesn't understand or they're not smart enough. But it's not how it is. It's like, how were you brought up? How did your parents treat you? How much sugar did you eat today? Most people's beliefs are just based on how they feel. My opinion. That's how I feel. See what I did there? So that's why I think, but that's why I think there's purposely no comma after body, because he's just saying we're not slaves to hormone, body, and soul, but our body and soul, our entire being is just slaves to pretty much our feelings, which is going to be based on what's going on with our endocrine system. How much energy do we have? How moody are we? And all of our feelings, all of our differences and our feelings about those differences and our opinions about those differences are just the results of feelings, which are mostly determined by how well did we sleep? How much water did we drink? Are we hydrated? And what did we eat? And that's funny when I do these a long time ago, and then I'll come back a couple of months later and read my notes. My hot sports opinion: if you want world peace, get rid of sugar.
But I like sugar.
I know, I do too.
And I'm a diabetic,
Tim,
so
it makes you so cranky, Tim. Your moods. I mean, like
no,
right now,
I'm cranky.
You get on camera.
Enough.
And then the next line: struggle to be happy swimming in a primitive sea. We do have differences in there. We have some biological and evolutionary differences. So let's not pretend like we don't have differences.
My only issue is I mean, I completely agree with what he's saying, and what you were just saying, I mean, I remember Jay, I don't remember if you would have known him or not. You remember from elementary school, Willie?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like in kindergarten, me and Willie were like best friends. And, it was getting close to my birthday. And I think I'd asked my mom, hey, I wanted to invite Willie over when we have the family over, blah, blah, blah. And my mom said, maybe we can arrange something later, but not that day, because your grandmother will throw a fit. Well, Willie was black, and, of course, so I didn't think anything of that. Willie was just funny to me. We were really good friends. I didn't think about that. So I agree with what you're saying on feelings and basically what we're brought up on and how we treat people of difference, whether it be race, religion, physical difference, a political difference, that it's okay to have those differences. There's no reason why you shouldn't get along. However, at the same time, we also got to be careful of differences that we have looked down upon and against eventually becoming the norm. I'm telling you, one day, if it keeps going the way that it's going, somebody is going to be brought up on charges for child molestation, and their excuse is going to be, well, I was born that way. And eventually, that's just going to become accepted.
Maybe.
No.
We need Jim's face for this.
What?
Sorry,
yeah, you do need my face for this because
we see your face.
While I'm saying this, I've got one of my burning logs in my hand and I'm holding it up like an angry mob.
Ooh.
That.
Well,
that's right.
Wow.
I don't know about you guys, but I just want to take this moment to thank all of our viewers for tuning in to the final episode of Every Roast Song.
I'm just saying.
How did
I'm just saying.
No, I understand what you're saying.
We still got to be. I mean, there is right and there is wrong. Now, forever, there's a lot of stuff that we said is absolutely wrong that has become right. And whether if I agree with that or not, okay. But
who's to say to your point?
It's not. I don't think it's necessarily detrimental to somebody's life in that case. But we keep going the way that we're going, and I'm calling it like a total of acceptance on how everybody is.
I mean, you can virtually say anything. I identify
right
as a
because you can
9-year-old.
exactly. I'm sorry. I'm 38 years old and I like 12-year-old boys. Do not mark that.
Mark.
Wow, that's going to be the best.
That's going to be
TikTok ever.
That's going to be the next open.
Did you break your camera just so you could say that?
Exactly.
not turning it into an Instagram reel.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it just like everything to an extreme becomes a slippery slope. And I mean, we could say, well, that sounds like an extreme end, but there's a lot of things now that in the 70s, 60s, 50s but it would seem extreme then.
Oh, yeah,
so
absolutely.
At some point, so hopefully we're kind to people from those decades past and not judging them based on the general thoughts about things then. And hopefully in 40 years, they'll be kind to us. Not that we'll care. Say what you want. We don't care. Yeah. And, and even those, that I was born that way, a lot of times there's going to be, maybe they were born that way or maybe, but I think it goes too, like I said, how did your parents treat you? Like if there could be some treatment from a parent or some other authority figure or a bully or something like that could just send someone down that path, and then what do you do about that if we can't put the research into the neurology and the brain science, and the cognitive science about what happens in the brain when someone gets like that? Yeah, what do you do? What do you do?
I mean, nothing against John Lennon, but if all we did was give peace a chance, then all the bad people would be enslaving all the other little countries they decided to invade. If we just sat by and just gave peace a chance, you tried to give peace a chance. But there are some people in the world that don't care.
I think you misheard the lyrics. It's give peas a chance.
Oh, yeah, because see, I wasn't a fan of peas as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, that or green beans. No, I did not like that. Yeah. And it was really weird because I loved corn on the cob. But if you gave me corn straight up, not on the cob, I wasn't eating that. Nope.
And
but now I cut it off the cob.
Well, and if
because now it just gets stuck in your teeth.
Exactly.
And that's not fun.
No.
If you're just boiling your peas, if you're just pouring them out of the can and just warming that up, you are not giving peas a chance.
No,
you're way better ways.
You're not.
And serve peas. Yeah. Well, I don't have a lot more notes. Maybe I do. I did have a lot of notes just because this song is right up my alley. Just talking about that neurological thing, that psychological thing. You know, like how much differences do we really have, especially in a lot of conversations today about diversity and all that. I think
right.
So my next line, you and I, we are well, not my next line, my favorite line of Neil's from Alien Shore. You and I, we are pressed into these solitudes. And yes, I do like to blame the media and politicians for things. If not for the media and politicians, I don't think we'd have most of these rivalries and prejudices. Without their input, people wouldn't suspect that they're supposed to hate each other, except for a few bigots that evolution hasn't eliminated yet. We'd all get along without politicians and pundits. And I think that they want us to hate each other. When we're divided, I think it benefits them, whether it's based on race, gender, sexual preference, political affiliation, or religious affiliation. I think that they need us divided and fighting it against each other and tuning into them to see why the other side is evil. I think they need us divided to succeed. Which is why you and I reject these narrow attitudes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then another line, I like you and I we must dive below the surface. A world of red neon and ultramarine. You know what's funny is all the time listening to it, I thought he was saying ultramaroon. And I'm like, what is part of it's red neon, part of it's super maroon? What does that mean? I don't get it, but it's ultramarine, which is like a deep blue. But anyway, I thought that was neat.
Because you're diving below the surface. And so typically when you say I'm going below the surface, you don't think of going below the surface of land. You think below the surface of water.
Which reminds me of Tim's favorite line from Grand Designs. We break the surface tension with our wild kinetic dreams. Where creating Rush has always created music with depth, not the shallow surface level, simple-minded pop type stuff. And now in Alien Shore, we're diving below the surface, thinking with a little more depth than that, those are differences, and rejecting what at least I consider shallow, mindless political dogmas. Rough.
Arr.
Yes. And then I had just 3 more favorite lines.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. I like the shining bridges because they're shining, not dull, not ignorant, shining in the darkness on the ocean floor, which would typically be dark, a bridge, gapping the differences to what might be strange, alien shore.
But then again, if you're underwater, why do you need a bridge?
Right? Yeah. Sometimes you can't explain all of them.
See, are you okay? I guess I've never really read all the lyrics. I thought it was shining bridges on the open shore. Because see, that just makes sense to me. Because you would have a bridge on the open shore, the land, to get you across to the other side. But it is ocean floor?
Oh, yeah. You know what? And now
on the ocean floor. I mean, it makes sense. Ocean, open.
Ocean floor. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess
Neil, you should have called me. I would
maybe-
have told you open shore.
maybe there's something about bridges that we don't know. Maybe it's like some engineering stuff there we don't know. And then we add to each other like a coral reef. There's a cool line because coral reefs are made up of ancient, diverse ecosystems. Sometimes they can be hundreds of thousands of years old, made up of all these parts of different things, and all of them together make not only something that's better than the sum of the parts, but it's also a home to a lot of other organisms. So it's just banding together with their diversity, and because of the diversity, all the creatures in a coral reef make up something spectacular. That, gentlemen, is all of my notes. You can rest now.
Yeah, but at the same
that
time,
last
a
observation.
coral reef can rip the crap out of you if you're not
There's that
careful.
too. Yeah, they'd be deadly, right?
It's true. It's true.
Do you have any bad coral reef injuries you want to tell us about, Tim?
No.
I don't
I've
either.
never
I don't
swam
have
at a
any.
coral reef, so
Neither have I. No, I don't have
no.
any. All right. Any final thoughts on Alien? Sure.
See,
Yeah.
new
That might
Rush
have been-
fans are going to be looking up Alien Sure and not going to get anything, and you've ruined it.
I want to see what the transcription software does with that. I always think about whenever I'm doing the transcriptions and editing all these things, I'm like, I need to not use so many puns and just speak more clearly because the transcriptions get all out of whack. Yeah. That's behind the scenes BTS stuff here on every Rush song. Well, that's what we think about Alien Shore from the Counterparts album.
Rush.
But what we want to know is, what do you think? Man, we did it. I mean, we worked on that. We rehearsed that so many times.
I know.
And we pulled it off. Good work. Good work.
Thank you.
Email us 2112 at everyrushsong.com. Catch us on the Sosh at everyrushsong. And treat us, spice a cup of coffee or something on the Patreon, everyrushsong.com/Patreon. Tim, tell the kind folks good night, would you please, sir?
Yes, thank you very much, General Madness. Wow. I set it up for y'all.
Well-
Y'all completely just
Jay
Let's start
left me
over.
hanging there.
Let's start over.
was taking a
Okay.
drink, and I was
In
looking for the
3.
stop button.
In 3, 2, 1.
Thank you very kindly, General Madness.
General Madness.
General Madness.
Right.
Is that a real general?
No, it's not a real city either.
I am so dense.